used to like go out on St. Patrick's Day. Like that was a thing we did voluntarily and happily.
I just discovered that today is also St. Gertrude's Saint Days, who is the patron saint of cats.
Oh my God.
Which I'm celebrating by not wearing a bra and staying home on it.
St. Gertrude's Day.
I discovered this also. Also, I was like, this is a holiday for me because cats, but it sounds like a holiday where you celebrate with a scone and some hot coffee or chocolate.
Right.
Like a great holiday, St. Gertrude. Thank you.
This will be the one day that I don't defuzz my clothes. Like I just go covered in cat hair.
Good.
Happy holidays.
Happy St. Gertrude's Day.
I'm celebrating with shenanigans.
Oh, nice. When I was driving to New York, Achilles is very needy in the car. And I had him in the front seat with me and like not actually out, but then I took him out. Like I let him out of the carrier. And
let him out in the car?
Yeah. All he did.
We used to do it with Yoink all the time.
We used to do it with Yoink all the time.
A great car cat.
Achilles is apparently a great car cat too, because literally all he did was just sit in my lap the entire time. Absolutely no like pawing or anything. He occasionally lifted his head up when the car slowed down, and I would put my head down and give him a little boop kiss. And he was like, and then he would just sit down and settle. And it was like, he was so happy. But afterwards, my legs were covered in cat hair.
The blessing of St. Gertrude upon you.
I love this saying now. I think I'm just going to constantly say it.
I'm not covered in cat hair. The blessings of St.
I've been
Gertrude.
blessed by St. Gertrude.
How else can we celebrate St. Gertrude?
I'm going to
I've got my pajama pants on.
Right?
Yeah, I'm going to forcibly snorgle the cats later.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Well, speaking of forcibly snorkeling.
Nice.
Forcible snorkeling? Nice.
Welcome to You're No Fun Anymore, the podcast where we deal with our nostalgia. I'm Randall.
I'm Dana.
I'm Bryce.
I'm Alexandra.
And I'm Helen.
And may the blessings of St. Gertrude be upon you all.
Yes.
Huzzah!
Except those of us with dogs. We don't get blessed.
Yeah.
No, fuck you.
Every day is dog day, Dana. Every day is dog day.
I'm sure
true.
there's a patron saint of dogs also.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, there is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And his name is Bartholomew.
Bartholomew.
Womp, womp.
That's the formal version of it. Yeah, so get that stew pot ready because we're diving back into 1987's Fatal Attraction, or Glenn Close Encounters of the Michael Douglas Kind.
Nice.
Or, this one's my favorite, Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Seen.
I like that. That's good.
A look that led to an evening.
We were attracted to each other at the party. That was obvious. You're on your own for the night. That's also obvious.
A mistake he'd regret all his life.
Where's your wife? And you're here with a strange girl being a naughty boy.
I don't think having dinner with anybody's a crime.
I've got to see you.
This is gonna stop.
No, it's not going to stop. It's going to go on and on.
She keeps calling the apartment.
Hello?
Every time Beth answers the phone, she hangs up. I'm scared, Jimmy.
You play fair with me? Do you have an affair with her? I'll play fair with you.
I don't want to lose my family.
How could you do that?
So you're scared of me, aren't you? You're afraid. Gutless, heartless, spineless.
If you ever come near my family again, I'll kill you. You understand?
Daddy!
I'm not going to be ignored. Alicia, where's Ellen?
She's gone.
Call the police.
Whatever resentment she's feeling, she's probably got it out of her system.
What if she didn't get it out of her system? What then?
Fatal Attraction.
I guess you thought you'd get away with it. Well, you can't.
Content warning. This selected film may contain scenes depicting the following: murder, adulterous sex, intense aggravated assault, attempted suicide, kidnapping, brief nudity, drinking, language, gaslighting, last-minute gun violence, questionably arousing water play, oversuvi lipus, criminal supporting cast underuse, and smoking. And now, back to your regularly scheduled podcast.
Now I need to find the patron saint of bunnies.
Yes.
Aww.
Yeah.
Let that bunny down.
Saint
Yeah.
Cadbury.
Saint
Oh my God.
Malangle.
So, look, Saint what now?
Malangle is the
Sure.
patron saint of rabbit.
Malangle?
I'll take it.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure
No,
I'm pretty sure
inaccurate.
that's an STD.
She was the daughter of an Irish monarch, so it all comes back around to St. Patrick's Day.
Right. Yeah,
there
see?
you go. So in my research for like looking up rabbit fun facts, the Cadbury Caramel Bunny is this weird tarted up sex nymph animation that came out in the 80s and 90s that sold you.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. It it sold you candy by telling you to take a break very sensuously. It's voiced by Miriam Margolyes.
I don't remember this.
Oh my goodness.
I looked away in horror so bad that I went away from the screen, everybody. Just so you
No,
know.
I wasn't going to show you this, but if you just type in Cadbury
Professor
Caramel.
Sprout, Marion Margolyes?
Yep.
Wow.
And she's doing like super sexy voice for this like sexy bunny telling you to take a break and eat some candy with her.
Hey, Mr. Beaver. Why are you beavering around? Haven't you heard of Cadbury's Caramel? See how the thick Cadbury's milk chocolate melts into smooth golden caramel. You just have to take everything really easy. Oh, looks like someone else could do with some. Take it easy with Cadbury's Caramel.
What the hell?
It's real weird. Cadbury
She's like
Caramel.
Bugs Bunny's girlfriend.
Yeah, it's real weird.
Really weird.
So I watched like a 10-minute clip of all of the Caramel Bunny commercials.
Oh no.
And then I dove into like the Trix Rabbit, and then I had to give up because it's weird. But anyway, Fatal Attraction, very
Yeah, this one triggered me, guys.
Yeah.
It was full on.
I have a lot of memories from this because I remember we taped it off of like HBO when I was in like middle school, and I watched this, and all the wrong and titillating parts kind of like triggered in my little adolescent brain. And oddly enough, none of like the murdery stuff.
Bunny murder?
Okay, I wasn't triggered by the movie. I was triggered by Randall watching the movie, which I'm really excited to share with all of you as we get into this conversation.
It's more the assault. I don't remember, like, it's leading up to the murder. All the kind of like violence that they inflict on each other is really full on.
That's what bothers you guys about this movie is the violence.
I mean, it's
what, the sex scene? I mean, that was just such a
no.
I mean,
I'll get into this later because I went back and re-listened to the You Must Remember This podcast in preparation for this episode. But the treatment of Glenn Close's character.
Totally. No, she's absolutely treated awful. And then also the complete racism.
Oh, Jesus.
That they exhibit like throughout the film.
Yeah.
You think it's like you think they finish it after the like beginning
80s.
party, but it continues on.
It was like a staple of 80s movies was having that like casual racism, especially towards like Asian.
Yeah.
Good thing we're over that, friends.
Good thing we're over that.
So good, we're done with it.
I remember watching this movie in a film class, and I thought it was in my high school film class, but there's no way that they showed high school, like class, right?
No.
So it must have been in college.
I watched it in
But
college.
also I'm kind of like freaked out by whichever teacher decided to show me this in college.
I understand.
It's a good movie. I mean,
I watched it on my own in college when I was trying to catch up on all the like classic movies I hadn't seen yet. But I feel like I'm nostalgic for all of the parodies that came out of this.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's not the movie itself, it's the parodies. Like
Fatal Instinct.
I would almost argue that Basic Instinct is kind of a parody of this.
Yeah.
No way.
It's just in that very wry Paul Verhoeven-y way. With just like a full-on room of sweaty, staring men, and it's just like, this is.
Did Single White Female come out after this or before
Way
this?
after.
Way after.
Because that's like the
This is like the movie that launched 1,000 sex thrillers.
Yeah.
It's
well,
weird 'cause,
9.5 weeks.
Yeah, 9.5 weeks.
which is also Adrian Lynn.
like that one about the divorced couple.
Which one? Disclosure?
Yeah, Disclosure. I think it's the
Yeah.
one. Is that the one?
Disclosure's not the divorced couple. Disclosure
Unfaithful? I don't know.
Demi
There's a
Moore.
lot of
Unfaithful?
these.
Maybe Unfaithful.
That one's really.
Wasn't
I don't know.
Unfaithful the one where it's like in Chicago?
That's the Diane Lane. That was in the early 2000s.
with the French guy, the really beautiful French guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he really explicit sex scenes.
I don't know. These were pretty explicit.
No,
There's a lot of like
Unfaithful, the sex scenes are like 50 times more explicit.
Yeah.
It's like watching porn.
This feels at least, and this is always like Adrian Lynn's kind of shtick, is that he wants to make it as I guess real as possible, or at least in playing with the scene. So it's always like handheld.
And then I had something to say about like splashing New York
Oh
City.
my God. I was going to use the word splashing, Bryce. Why is there so much splashing?
Why was she splashing like gross New York City sink water on themselves?
Are they really dehydrated? Why is there so
sexy?
No.
How is that sexy?
That was the meatpacking district in the 80s. Like that is lead poisoning.
A sexier scene would have been like in the shower or something.
There was like cow carcasses in that groundwater. You do not want to be splashing each other with that.
No. Also, you're gonna slip and you're gonna die.
Exactly. Also, it's a real safety hazard.
Guys, we finally watched a movie that gave you sex scenes. That's all you have talked about.
It's true.
It was also hilarious just watching him walk with his pants around his ankles.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite bits.
That was funny.
And they're both like laughing, and it's great.
Like that was funny, but just the hole in front of the sink. She's like,
yes.
yes.
And it wasn't just like playful splashing. It's like taking like hookfuls of water and like throwing it in his face.
Well, and she did it like multiple times. She did it like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, he's not into it. Please stop. Please stop.
I feel like please just stop. I feel like this became a parody of itself within the movie. Like the movie parodied itself within it.
Yeah, but before we go on to this, I do want to.
I did like seeing you mentioned it as well, though, Bryce. I did like seeing the meatpacking district when it was like gross and dirty.
Oh yeah, because I think
before it was like Gallery Central, you know?
Oh.
Wait, are we pausing?
Let me pause.
I'm okay.
Are you okay? Did you get bit?
Yes.
Oh no.
Jesus.
Let me pause.
It's not that. It's that she bit, the finger that I cut with the tuna fish, and it's got the nerve endings that are open. She bit right on it.
Oh.
It's like a million nerves are screaming for help right now.
Dana, do you want to go get some ice or something?
Get some ice?
No, it's fine. It's calming down. It's just, I was trying really hard not to scream.
Oh no!
I couldn't tell if you were laughing or crying, and I was like, Dana's not okay right now.
Oh, that hurts so much.
I was like, Dana, poor Dana.
See, Echo's like,
he's like, what? What did I do?
I'm sorry.
Echo's like, we just had some fun time. I don't know what you're talking about.
I couldn't take her out for a walk because I was calling poison control. So now she's super hyper and trying to murder me.
All right, we've kept Randall.
Yeah, no. But yeah, so we have to set it up because again, the year is 1987.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. What a way to come back, right?
At some point, we are going to watch all the 1987 movies.
I think so.
I think we are.
We only have like a few hundred, so it's.
Okay. It was a good year apparently for movies.
I think it was a formative year for us.
That's what I'm saying.
I think it was more a formative year. Well, the commonality it shares with this year, 2023, is it is the year of the rabbit.
Yay!
In this case, in 1987.
Do you think that's why they had the rabbit in there?
I don't believe so. But in this case, 1987 was the year of the fire rabbit. The first time that symbol would be in the zodiac since 1927.
They had fire rabbits?
Yeah, we are in the water rabbit right now.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, speaking of rabbits, this year would see the release of Nighty Nightmare, the 4th book in the lovable semi-vampiric Bunnicula series.
I love Bunnicula!
Oh, I love Bunnicula. It's so much fun. But yes, Bunnicula created by Deborah and James Howe. I just love that he's kind of a vampire, but he only sucks the juice out of vegetables.
He sucks the juice out of the vegetables.
Yeah.
I used to read Bunnicula over Helen's shoulder whenever she
Bunnicula is what made me like reading. Before that, I hated reading.
Oh, like Haldane and like Bunnicula. Yeah. And,
I would like refuse to read books, and then Bunnicula like made me into a reader.
I loved Haldane. Like or the Celery Stalks at Midnight. That was the third one, right?
I also really loved I Houdini, which was about a hamster that escapes
that one too.
things.
All the animal books.
Yeah.
All the animal books. Speaking of animals, in Canada this year, the Royal Canadian Mint would release the first $1 coin. This 11-sided Richelieu.
The Looney.
Yeah, the Richelieu. I can never say
why,
that.
Randall? Why?
Polygonal mint was steel with a brass plating to distinguish it from other coins. That would feature the profile of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II on its face, as well as a serene portrait of the common loon on a lake on the back. Hence, Looney.
The Looney.
Doesn't explain the toonie, though.
The toonie was in the 90s when they released the $2 coin. But honestly, today people still call the Canadian dollar the Looney.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Looney has a polar bear on it.
The FDA finally gives the green light to fluoxetine, better known as Prozac. The Eli Lilly marketed antidepressant would go on to sell about $350 million in its first year, but studies in subsequent years would reveal that, disgustingly, Eli Lilly knew Prozac was more likely to increase suicidal behavior several years before the approval and did their conscious best to hide that data. Some would call that premeditated, but what do I know? If that name sounds familiar to you, it's because it's the same pharmaceutical giant that was recently shamed into stopping its decade-long price gouging scheme for insulin on Twitter to the tune of billions of dollars in profit. Such a great legacy. I'm sure Jonas Stock would be proud.
I mean, all insulin, regardless of it being from Eli Lilly, it's just way too expensive.
Right, but I did love that they actually had to be publicly
shamed into yeah.
It was like the best $15 somebody ever
for a
spent.
drug that literally keeps people alive.
Yeah. And again, Jonas Salk, he did not patent because he thought it should be available to everybody.
Yeah.
And finally, this year would be a colossal kick in the wiener for shameless philanderer, alleged sex abuser, and grifter evangelical Jim Bakker, as revelations of his affairs and sexual misconduct, as well as the over $250,000 payoff he embezzled from his show, PTL, at the time. PTL was under FCC recommendation for stripping it from its religious tax-exempt status, which for years before this, they would finally get around this year to doing it because of the gross accounting misconduct and blatant fraud.
I do have a new appreciation for Tammy Faye, though.
Because of Jessica Chastain?
Not just that, but the documentary that was based on. Tammy Faye, she had her problems, but she was not nearly as bad as Jim Bakker.
No.
I mean, but that's like saying, Son of Sam wasn't as bad as Hitler.
Tammy Faye was accepting of gay people, or at least...
Sure, she's still a grifter.
More willing to talk about it than 99% of the population during that time. So
yes, I would still say...
give her credit.
I give her credit for that, but she's still a grifter.
What does PTL stand for?
Pumpkin
Talk Lunch?
No, it stands for Praise the Lord.
Yeah. But anyway, so Jim Bakker would step down from PTL from his leadership role and appoint Jerry Falwell. So he unleashed Jerry Falwell on us, ruining our lives for decades to come. But don't worry. Despite his disgusting selfish greed and wanton destruction of others' lives for his own shallow fulfillment, he's still on the air right now and a still unrepentant millionaire huckster. And speaking of selfish, unrepentant men.
Hi, Michael Douglas.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
Yeah, this film was released on September 18th, 1987. It had a little bit of a 2-day preview in New York City before it went to only about 750 screens its first week. But boy, howdy, this was a stacked weekend. It took number one with 7.6 million.
Huh,
wow.
But here's the list of films that also came out premiering this week. The Pickup Artist, which is unforgivable sex pest James Toback's romantic quote-unquote comedy.
His name is actually Tobag?
No, Toback.
Toback.
Yeah,
I thought you said Tobag, and I was like...
He literally has more allegations against him than there are days in the year.
Yeah, he's great.
Great.
This one stars Molly Ringwald and Robert Downey Jr. playing a pickup artist, which it was just like James Toback.
Yeah.
Clive Barker's Hellraiser would also come out this weekend. The Louis Gossett Jr., James Belushi inner city faux gritty thriller, The Principal, would come out this weekend. All of these, by the way, were major wide releases. That means they were over 1,000 screen, and Fatal Attraction still beat them all at number one.
Wow.
Other premieres include...
Sex sells, guys.
Yeah, I mean, also it's very rare you get like adult fare like this kind of drama, even at this time.
I mean, they made a big deal of it even recently with that Ben Affleck, Anna de Armas sex thriller.
Yeah. Oh, there were other premieres too, including anthology comedy Amazon Women on the Moon.
I love that.
Oh yeah, it's super fun. Merchant Ivory adaptation Maurice, the underage Casanova biopic In the Mood. That's got Patrick Dempsey playing like a 14-year-old who seduces women. It's real weird.
It's very weird.
80s.
Yeah, and then of course the screen adaptation of Orphans, the play. But this film would spend 8 weeks at number one. At its height, would be in over 1,300 screens, and finally being knocked out of first place by the Richard Bachman, aka Stephen King, Schwarzenegger vehicle, The Running Man.
Friggin' love that movie.
That's a lot of fun. The puns. It's so good. Domestically, this would take in over 156 million, making it the number 2 film in the U.S. behind Three Men and a Baby. But worldwide, it was the highest grossing film of 1987, totaling over $320 million, beating everybody's international box office haul, including Beverly Hills Cop 2 and Dirty Dancing. It would get 6 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, Best Actress.
Didn't win any of them, though.
Best Supporting Act. No, it didn't win anything. Best Supporting Actress. I think this is also Anne
Archer.
Anne Archer's only nomination.
Yes.
She's so good.
It would get 4 Golden Globe nominations, several Guild nominations, and would win the People's Choice Award for Dramatic Picture. Overall, the lasting effect is pretty immeasurable, as Alex is listed as number 7 on AFI's Heroes and Villains list.
Number 7?
Yeah.
Lucky number.
We're going to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. And forever cementing the phrase, bunny boiler. Yeah, I do have to say that was a real bunny. It was purchased from a butcher store, but that was a real bunny.
In the pot?
Yep.
Ooh.
Which probably explains her reaction, because I'm sure that smelled horrible.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Yeah. I would have. Yeah.
I wouldn't let the cats watch that scene.
No.
I looked away.
I completely forgot that they had a dog, and I was just so relieved that they went after Bunny instead.
Yeah, that's
wow.
I do not need to see a boiled golden retriever.
Yeah, the original idea, I guess Adrian Lyne had, was they were going to grill it, like just roast it on fire. But then they thought, that's a bit too much.
Oh.
So just boil it like lobster instead.
Yeah, no, it's better that it's in a pot. You don't really see
no, it's just like
too much, you know?
Yeah, you get basically one shot, and then that's pretty much it. Yeah, there's a lot to kind of go through. Not just like
Michael Douglas's character is an ass.
Okay.
Yes.
Straight up ass.
Okay, so can I tell you what? Not the movie triggered me, but Randall triggered me. He kept going, well, if he'd just gone to the opera with her, everything would have been fine. If he had just taken her call, everything would have been fine. If he had just gone to she would have got closure and everything would have been fine. And I'm like, I'm learning a little too much about you after we've been together like 18 years, sir.
I think it was a very nice gesture to close it out by going to Madame Butterfly. I get it. No, it never stops. But
no, and also he's an ass. He's got a beautiful wife at home.
Oh, this is my problem. Like, Alex kept going, why are you doing this? And there's like,
why are you doing this?
I think if this movie was remade today, the wife would have been like a shrew or like
she's
some reason.
It just would have been a lot clearer.
Yeah.
But she's not, but she's like a totally like self-realized, independent character.
She's not.
I was like, she's totally not.
No, this is a good place to start. Like I said, I listened to Karina Longworth's podcast. You must remember that, since she did a whole episode about this movie. And a lot of people have said that this movie was actually a response to feminism, and that Anne Archer's character is the one that we're supposed to sympathize with because she is the domestic housewife who knows her place. She is not independent.
No, for the first 3/4 of this movie, she doesn't have a single line where she's not like demurely whispering and asking her husband what he might want.
Mm-hmm.
Like she drove me
at least she got better off than Ellen Foley, who literally has no lines.
Yeah,
like
that's
she
true.
Talk.
I think if she does, she has maybe something
in
at
the
the
dinner
party.
scene.
She does. She says stuff in the dinner scene.
Yeah.
She makes a joke in the dinner scene about like, oh, you'll totally forget all about us.
I didn't even notice her at the party, and then the dinner scene, I was like, wait, that's Billy from Night Court.
Yep, it's such a waste. Like, there's so many people in this that are like wasted. Like Fred Gwynn, holy God.
Yeah. One scene.
With no follow-up. Yeah.
Apparently there was like they were gonna go more into his job and like all this other stuff, but like all that got cut.
But he's just such an asshole to his beautiful, loving wife, who is like
makes no demands on him.
No.
Well, and I think the weird thing about this is like the whole thing that has started is just somebody was like, oh, maybe I could, I don't know, and like that's it.
Because the opportunity presented itself.
Right.
Gross.
And I was like, yeah, that's
shitty.
Totally. Yeah, we have to talk about how little he stops to think about what he's doing. Like, there's not
he doesn't think about it at all
of regret or hesitation until after the fact.
He's pissed that there's repercussions to his stupid ass thing.
Yeah.
Not that he like violated his family and his marriage
or used this person that he just met.
And it also made me crazy how like his friend is clearly trying to hit on women at the party, and when he tells his friend that there's no like
Stuart Packin.
Yeah, there's no moment of like, dude, why? Dude, this was about it. He's just like, oh man.
Oh, no, he just goes and hits on Glenn Close himself, just in a better way.
Also, as a complete irrelevant side note, they did Glenn Close wrong with that no bang look during the party.
Oh my God, I was saying the same thing.
Bryce, did Helen. That was like bad.
I'm like, oh, they gave that girl a
5'6" head that they gave her. It's like terrible.
Alex, that's exactly what I said.
It's so bad. Like, and she's a beautiful woman.
She's a beautiful woman, and she looks stunning through the rest of the movie.
But that first scene, they did her real dirty.
First scene, you're like, why? Why the
You guys
brush?
don't want to get real mad. I'm just going to keep throwing this stuff at you because it's fun.
Hit me.
Also, from the podcast, Glenn Close was almost not cast in this because Adrienne Lyne said she wasn't fuckable enough.
Oh, fuck you.
Well,
This is the man who later went on to direct Lolita.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't really care much about his opinion of what lead actresses are.
Oh, wait,
fuckable.
I'm holding some stuff back. There's more.
Yeah, I find it there's a literal unnavigatable
Place in hell for people, like?
No, I was going to say there's a literal unnavigatable list of the women that were either considered for this and turned it down or just outright refused to do it. One of my favorite stories actually happened to be, this is based on Sherry Lansing's the producer of this. Sherry Lansing's a goddamn legend. She was, I think she was the first woman that became like a
studio head, right?
No, not a studio head, but the head of production of a studio.
Head of production.
The first woman to become a president of a studio, like the actual studio head, was Dawn Steele, who was working at Paramount at the time of this. And the story goes in the 2012 biography, Leading Lady, Cheryl Lansing and the Making of a Hollywood Groundbreaker. She recalls the then new head of production at Paramount, Dawn Steele, throwing the script across the room, outraged they even gave it to her, wondering aloud why anyone should care about the fate of Dan Gallagher.
No one cares about the fate of Dan Gallagher. This Sherry Lansing story that I like was that she agreed to do it because she had sympathy for Glenn Close's character and said every woman has done this, like not to the extreme that she has, but every woman has done some variation of this. And then they went and undid all of the sympathetic things in the movie that would have made that work.
And that's the really hard part, is because Glenn Close fought for this, and also
Glenn Close still feels like a protectiveness of this character. I've read.
And I think it's fair because there are a lot of scenes that actually survive in this version that you see it, because she's just basically saying
she's a very raw character. Like she's like really exposed, you know?
And yes, it's kind of extreme. And she wanted to deal with that kind of intense personality, but not portray it as like, oh, this is just another
crazy bitch.
Psycho. Yeah.
Well, so what I find really, and I was watching this and making this very strange connection the whole time I was watching it. I'm pretty sure, based on my numerous watches of shows that psychologically identify people, she has borderline personality disorder.
Yeah.
And
totally.
Yeah.
It could have been discussed and treated in the movie the way that it is in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Right.
Which I may be the only person that cares about that show anymore, but in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, they tell the same story in the third season where she gets totally wronged by a man and goes down this spiral that turns into something where she is completely out of control and doing horrible things, but it's treated with so much more care and empathy that it makes it understandable. Here, there's no empathy.
Oh, no, but you can tell that they've like taken that out. Like you can tell that it's been excised because the kind of like vestiges of it are there, you know, you kind of like you want to feel sorry for Glenn Close. You really, really do, like for her character through the whole thing. You want to like
almost
understand, but all the kind of like scenes that would bring you there are excised out of it.
The bunny. I was with her.
Or they're just they're not focused in the right direction, because the moments that they're having, these are very like honestly, I would say like most of the interactions, save the last 5 minutes, which we'll get to, they feel very genuine in the way that this is how you would behave in that kind of scenario. Dan's going to lose everything because he made a mistake, but he can't admit it, and he doesn't want to fess up, and he doesn't want to take responsibility for these things
at all.
She is fully realizing what is going to happen, even when she realized, like, okay, I'm just going to have this kid, and like this is.
Oh, I don't think she's actually pregnant.
I don't think she's actually pregnant.
Sure,
actually pregnant
I thought she was actually pregnant.
If I mean, Glenn Close was actually pregnant when she did the reshoots.
Sure.
But if you take her at value, she's like, this is happening, and you need to get. You need to get on the fucking page with this. And the idea that, this is somebody exerting control is like, I get that interpretation because I've seen a lot of writing on this. I think over time, especially now that we have a better grasp of a lot of like mental health issues, and Glenn Close is a huge advocate for mental health awareness. I mean, I think she's like co-founder of
yeah, it's her. Actually, when I worked at the Jed Foundation, she did a gala for us. It's her nephew has schizophrenia, and she became a huge advocate for the schizophrenic community because of that.
Well, I mean, this movie could have been a nuanced and fascinating look at a character with like mental health issues. I mean, and everything she does, I think she went after a married man.
Right.
She kidnapped his daughter because she's so lonely, and what she doesn't want the man. She wants the lifestyle. She wants a family. She wants companionship. She wants that respectability. And instead of exploring that, they made it about, oh, the crazy bitch that you could accidentally find
that
yourself
is asking
involved
for
with.
too much. It's the opposite of the wife who makes no demands. She's making like a few demands, you know?
And I mean, we might as well talk about this now because like the original ending to this, which they test screen and is readily available.
Which I would have preferred.
It was so good.
It's a
so
way
good.
better and a much more polished thing, and because it is a very it's
what he deserves,
right? And even though Anne Archer leaves, and she has the tape where she's confessing about killing herself, and who knows what that's going to hold up in court or whatever.
And I even rewrote that original ending to be
you need to explain what the original ending is going to be.
Yeah. So the original ending to this was it follows immediately after he runs in and he finally confesses to the cop that it's not a client, it's him. After he's broken into her apartment and assaulted her.
Like viciously
assaulted her and leaves her, and then he puts the knife down on the counter and then basically says, you come near my family, I'll fucking kill you. And then he leaves. He goes to the police. I think is that after he told his wife finally?
After he tells the wife, it's the very end of the movie.
Yeah, so it's the very end. So when the local cop went over there in the suburban town, just goes, I'll send some detectives down to kind of question her. So it's the next morning, and he's like doing yard work. The cops show up and he's like, hey, can we talk to you for a second? And they're like, yeah. So did she get the message? And they're like, well, that's kind of hard because she's dead. And then he has this moment of like, wait, what are you talking about? Oh God, she must have killed herself. He's like, yeah, well, most people don't slit their throat from ear to ear when trying to kill themselves. So why don't you come down?
I didn't know about this ending.
Yeah, it's so good. It's like it's done. It's available in full. We watched it on YouTube.
Wow.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah. And so he sits there and goes, wait, you think I did this? And they're like, look, all we need to do is check your prints against the murder weapon because it looks like somebody broke in and killed somebody here.
See, that's a much better ending.
Right.
Right?
Because it gives her that moment of like, fine, you know what? And that's exactly what Glenn Close always loved. And she had fought for weeks against the reshoot.
Right.
Because she didn't want it to be like a come back from the dead slasher kind of shit.
Zombie movie bullshit.
Right.
They actually did. Eventually, they did put this ending in Promising Young Woman, or a variation of it that kind of undoes the damage that this did.
Yeah. And I honestly, it never tested well with audiences because I just don't think that we were in a place to accept.
Damn you, 80s audiences.
But they love that ending where Glenn Close gets shot.
Yeah, they do.
Where the gun isn't introduced the whole,
until like the last 5 minutes.
There's no gun.
This gun.
It was in the drawer. Like Anne Archer opens a drawer and you see a gun for a split second, and then she closes it again, and then it's just
it was him. It was Michael Douglas that opened.
Oh, it was Michael Douglas. Yeah. All right, but either way, it's just like it's all set up. It's very obviously completely done.
Yeah.
After the fact.
Totally.
And so it's just like, and then you get this beautiful scene where he's being taken away. And Anna Archer has actually said in interviews that she actually liked her performance in the original ending because she's running after the car screaming, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. What do you want me to do? And she's like, it's going to be fine. And she runs upstairs to try and find, his lawyer friend's numbers. And while she's up there, she finds the tape that Alex sent. And in it, she's listening to it. And then she hears it all the way through. And then finally you hear her say, like, I don't know what I can do without you. I'm going to kill myself. And that's when she goes, I can get him off.
See,
and then at that moment, you see it goes into Glenn Close sitting in the
bathroom. Is she gonna or is she not?
Oh, no. It has this gorgeous shot where it's a slow push in where she's listening to Madame Butterfly again. And just you see her with the knife pulling it against her throat. And then she drops as blood comes out. And it's just like, that's the end.
It's beautiful.
Wow.
It's an amazing kind of, I mean, honestly,
that was an ending in service to women.
Yeah. It's much more similar to the way Madam Butterfly end is.
It was an ending in service to women, and this is not a movie that.
Well, and I was even like 2023 rewriting the alternate ending where I'm like, the wife is like, oh, I can get him off. And then she goes,
why should I?
Do I want to?
Do I want to?
Why should I?
And then she snaps the tape in my made up alternate ending.
I'll just keep this nice house.
Alternate ending to the alternate ending.
The weird part for me, I think, about it is that, it just didn't test well. And frankly, I don't think this movie would have been as successful at the time if it didn't have the
It probably wouldn't have. You're right. It wouldn't have been.
That was definitely producer level kind of decision where it's just like audiences love when Ann Archer says, you come near my family, I'll fucking kill you, and hangs up. Like, people were cheering. They're like, well, let's give them what they want. And so she ends up killing her.
I mean, why were 80s audiences so invested in Michael Douglas's dick? What the fuck?
I don't know.
Really
I don't know, girl. I don't know, girl.
You really were.
He's got good hair. I'll give
he's
him
pretty
that.
hot in Romancing the Stone. I mean,
well, yes, that I did threaten when we were watching this. I threatened to Randall that I would call Michael Douglas's dick his Pym particle the whole time we recorded this.
Nice.
That's good.
Before we transition over to Michael Douglas, though, I wanted to discuss
his Pym particle.
I wanted to discuss the piece of this that triggered me.
Yes, please.
Personally, because the reason that men often cite this movie is because they said it scared the shit out of them about cheating on their wives because it could make the woman, like the woman could come after you. They never for a second,
don't cheat on your wife because you're.
No, I don't even care about that right now. Don't care about that right now. What I care about is they never for a second talk about the fact that he's the one that causes her to go insane.
Yeah.
Not that she doesn't have borderline personality. She clearly does.
Right.
But he treats her for the first 20, 30 minutes of that movie like a girlfriend.
Yeah.
They're walking down the street arm in arm. They're having these deep, intimate talks. This is
Dana, when they're playing in the park, I'm like, how is he being so
he's treating her like his girlfriend.
Central Park with this woman who is not his wife.
Right.
Like, everybody were to
Also,
walk past
his
that
dog,
he knew.
He's introduced.
Yeah, they walk the dog together.
He's in an intimate relationship with this woman.
There is no world in which this is a one-night stand, even though he refers to it that way several times afterward. He flips the fucking switch like nothing the second he has to get up and go, because he never had any intention of doing anything with spouse this weekend. But there was never a moment when he, even if he was saying, I'm married, this can't do anything, bullshit, you're taking her out on dates, you're making her feel like you're going to have a relationship, and then you pull the rug out from under her immediately. So I'm going to say this right now, because it really did trigger me. Really did. Men, if you are dating someone and you flip the switch on them, don't be surprised when they go a little bit crazy because you didn't tell them what was going on.
Just be honest.
Yeah.
Just be honest.
Be honest.
That was in their first conversation, because she says, what is this? And then she says, like, I can be discreet.
Why are you here?
Why are you here?
Get-go. And he never answers.
And he never answers. And it's just like, okay, if you just wanted it to be a one-night stand fling,
then sleep with her and leave that night.
And be gone.
And just say that that's what this is. You know?
That's exactly what it should have been.
Yeah. And this is what drives me crazy about it. Obviously, I take this a little bit personally. And in the past, I have been in a similar situation where the flip switched. I had no idea. And all of a sudden I was branded crazy because I was continuing to be in a relationship with someone who no longer wanted to be in a relationship, but hadn't told me that. They would drag it out for another month afterwards. So
are you infuriated by the idea of situationships?
Not if everybody is on the same page about it.
Be honest.
What infuriates me is basically she wasn't crazy until you made her that way.
Sure.
So when men, and especially in this movie, referred to Glenn Close as a monster and as this crazy bitch who goes after Michael Douglas for no reason, bullshit. There is a reason that she does this.
I think,
and we're not excusing what she does.
The escalation is definitely.
I don't support bunny boiling.
We don't support child kidnapping.
Alex and I were talking about this as we were watching, and like the weird reactions you sometimes have when you have a really strong physical attraction to a person, and you can't quite like. My instant reaction is to run away very quickly. There was a guy that I had a huge crush on in college, and I remember like running to the other side of the street when we were walking down the block towards each other because I didn't want to be like within physical proximity because it was too overwhelming.
If I'm too flirty with you, I'm just friends with you.
I'm just friends with you. But if
there's no pressure around us. There's no I'm just friends with you. Like, it's just friends. Yeah. But if I am a fucking idiot, if I am tripping over myself or okay, that's cool. And punch, hey buddy, I have a huge crush on you. It's just impossible.
I have to hide.
I wish I had that problem. I do. If I could just run to the other side of the street, my life would have been a lot easier.
Other side of the street in busy New York City traffic, walking to class.
Awkward highs. Yeah. That's me. That's awkward highs when I have a crush on you.
My version is, hi, let's talk about everything that's going on in your life and your childhood vomit and your background and everything you could possibly tell me about yourself so that I know you super well. And then
I do that too.
You don't want me.
Yeah.
After I've done all that homework. That's how mine goes.
Oh, yeah. I shut up. I'm very quiet. Suddenly.
I shut up, but I'm tell me more, you know?
I'm just too dense to actually
I know.
realize that.
That's all then. That's all then.
No, I told the story that
I think we said it before, yeah.
Yeah, that I was meeting Randall at a bar, and when I get there, he's talking to this woman, and he's talking about the Reconstruction period post Civil War, and he's having his Randall professor moment, and just going on and on and on and on and on, and this woman is desperately trying to look interested in this, and so I come up and I'm like, oh, hey, how's it going? And this woman gives me a look like, sister, I am sitting through this bullshit. This one is mine. And I'm like, you know what? You're right.
No clue.
He's yours now. I got to go.
Wait, did you leave?
I wandered off to get a drink and not hear about the Reconstruction
for the 19th time
because I don't need that shit in my life all the time. And then so Randall finally
break, right?
Yeah. Randall finally just drops this poor girl in an instant. He really just goes, oh, I gotta go by. And then he walks over to me. This girl's still staring daggers at me. And I'm like,
what?
That girl was hitting on you and thought you were hitting on her.
No. Lots of people talking about 19th
no
century
one
politics.
Nobody does.
I talking about Revolutionary War, not Civil War.
Alex will talk about Nathan Hale. If you bring up Nathan Hale.
But that's a consensual conversation where both people are involved. He was professor splaining this poor girl at the bar. And
I have a problem.
I mean, this map behind me is a print of 1776 New York City.
Well,
it shows how Queens is all
here we go. Wait.
Randall can have Nathan Hale conversations.
Yeah,
everybody else, they're hitting on you, Randall.
Yeah,
fair enough. I did want to mention one thing still about this because over the years she is still, like you said earlier, Helen, where it's she's very protective of it, and I think with good reason because she put a lot of work into making this.
You
character.
can tell it's a fully fleshed out character.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's unlike what the script is because apparently the script had very bare bones descriptions of anything like that. So she really brought a lot of herself into it. And
I guarantee you the scene where she had the Haagen-Dazs on the bed, that the Haagen-Dazs was written into the script.
Probably. It was very popular.
I mean, girls be liking ice cream.
Girls be eating ice cream.
I'm now wondering why I thought that Anne Archer's character was so
no, she is a big
nothing.
Know
why.
Because you wanted.
I do love Anne Archer. I think she's awesome. So I think
you probably wanted one woman in this movie to be treated well and with respect.
Yeah. Well, and she's incredibly likable and she's beautiful and it's she is
very likable. She's the cool girl. You're oh, she's so cool.
She's a perfect wife, but that doesn't mean that she's a fully realized character.
Yeah.
I mean, she is a manic pixie dream girl kind of
kid. The kid is adorable too because she's
so cute,
little gender fluid.
They had that haircut from 5 years old to 11 years old.
Yeah,
that was my bull haircut.
That was our haircut.
We would like pictures up on our Instagram, please.
Ellen
immediately,
Latson.
not a problem. There's tons of them.
Yeah,
I have one right now with laser background that I will send.
I'm so pleased in advance.
We wore dresses. Our mom would have us with this haircut because it was the easiest haircut for her to cut. And we would be in dresses. And there was Helen's high school friends came and visited once and were oh, who's the cute little boy in a dress? And Helen's that's me.
Yeah. She actually did not have not too many films.
I think this was
early
her.
on.
I think this was
this is
her
her first film.
She
no. This is her first film. She did
Anne Archer, the daughter.
The daughter.
No, the daughter. Ellen Latson.
The daughter was so good in the scene when she was crying. And
Oh my God.
Except it made me go, who made this poor little girl
I
cry
swear
to
to
get
God,
the
they
shot?
gave her a puppy and then they took it away.
You want to hear the story?
Yeah.
So in order to have that scene, because that's when they're fighting over the whole, like, he finally fesses up and she's like, get the fuck out, which,
fair,
good for you. So
she shouldn't have stayed with him
while they're shooting it. And she's actually said this in interviews like years later. So she's there, and Michael Douglas just kind of looks at her and is like, look at this. What that stupid little unicorn. I'm going to take that and I'm going to throw it. And she's just like yelling at her, and she starts grabbing the unicorn and getting teared up. And then Adrian Lynn says, cut. And Michael Douglas runs immediately over and goes, I'm so sorry. That was really intense, wasn't it?
This is why sets have intimacy
Holy
directors now.
shit.
Jesus.
I would rather they had given her a puppy and then take it away.
Yeah, she was actually one of my favorite bits that she was in. She was in Christmas Vacation.
Oh.
she's one of the daughters. But yeah, she I think she only has like a handful of credits, and then she kind of
doesn't have a lot
because she got traumatized in this fucking movie.
Probably.
It's a lot.
Yeah. If Michael Douglas yells at you about a unicorn, you're not going to continue down that career path.
And then they boil your bunny rabbit.
You're like, this is not my route.
Yeah, I just think it's so weird that like they have these kind of stories. Like she's talking about it now, but yeah, it's like, you need like somebody on set to do that. And
Like, totally.
I've known a lot of directors to get certain reactions out of them. I'm myself completely guilty of this, where you have basically somebody else off screen giving commands while you're behind the camera and like eliciting that response because they're familiar, but that's why you hand it to somebody familiar.
Right.
Well, honestly, I can't believe that Kubrick has a story where he comes off well in this.
Oh, God.
Where the little boy in The Shining didn't realize they were making a horror movie until he watched it years later because Kubrick was so protective of him.
Oh.
And I'm like,
wow.
Kubrick?
Yeah, I guess that
Really?
wasn't
Not for
Duvall.
Shelley Duvall.
Yeah, so anyway, also since we're talking about the daughter, I don't know if you noticed that short little cameo when the babysitter shows up. That's Jane Krakowski.
It was Jane
Krakowski. How cute is that?
I thought it was
That's
and she was
adorable.
Little
far
baby
away.
Jane Krakowski.
Baby Jane Krakowski.
Would you be pantsless in front of your babysitter?
Would not be pantsless in front of my babysitter.
Would not be.
Wait, what?
No.
Ann Archer, she's
Oh.
pantsless in that.
Yeah, she's getting ready for the
But I think that was supposed to be like domestic comfort, right? Like that was.
I guess.
Yeah, like I'm.
And also look how hot my wife is right from the start.
Stupid
Right.
fucking Michael
Yeah.
Douglas.
Yes,
What
exactly.
thing?
How hot his wife was.
Well, that we should talk about Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
Because,
Fuck that guy.
Wait,
I
can we
mean-
start this by saying what Michael Douglas said about this movie after the fact?
oh yeah, go for it.
He said, and we can talk about what Adrian Lyne said later, which is even worse. He said, I think this movie is really against feminism. I don't like feminists. Like, sure, women should get paid the same and they should, have the same rights. But feminism is bullshit.
When did he
That
say
is
that?
what Michael Douglas said he did. The bullshit part, no.
When
but
did
the
he
rest
say
of
that?
that is he said it.
Oh, I have no idea
said
about
it.
any of that. I know that he
That
was.
both he and Adrian Lyne said that this was a reaction to feminism and that they hoped it put feminists in
He
their-
was the only one who was actually in favor of doing the reshoot, including Adrian Lynn, because Adrian Lynn didn't want to reshoot it. He ended up getting like a 1.5 million payout for it.
Douglas or Adrian Lynn?
No, Adrian Lynn. And most of that was just begging and pleading to get the cast back together because like this was well into like we're done with this,
For that final scene, right?
So like this is also the same year, like so Fatal Attraction, while being arguably the most popular film of the year, and everybody was talking about it, and like you said, Dana, it's
Three
like,
men and a little baby. Excuse me.
well, yes, but internationally, like this was a huge hit. Really big in the UK, but Adrian Lynn, so that's probably the connection to that. So they were nominated for like again, Best Actress, Best Picture, Best Supporting Actress, Best I think Editing was
Not Best
was
Actor,
one of them.
though.
Not Best Actor, but
he won anyway.
He won anyway because this is also the year Wall Street came out.
Yeah,
hilarious.
So Michael Douglas got his Oscar, not for this
Yeah,
movie.
I'm sure he wasn't nominated because they didn't want to split the vote.
No, he was actually shooting basically like he would switch on and off because it was
Not an
roughly
even
around
bigger asshole. Gordon Gekko.
Gordon Gekko. Yeah,
He's just like the year of Michael Douglas playing assholes.
I mean, not the only year.
Not the only year. You're right.
Yeah, Jack Colton is not exactly a nice guy.
No, you're right.
But
You're
he's in that lovable rogue kind of character.
That's always Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
He is never. I can't.
Oh no. When he was like younger, when he was doing all his TV series, he was like the the straight
TV,
guy.
but I'm talking about like the Michael Douglas that we all know. The movie's Michael Douglas.
Oh, yeah,
He
yeah.
excelled at playing assholes.
See, I always think of like those 80s. Who's Goldie Hawn?
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell. I feel like Kurt Russell is like
he was always like rugged and
decent guy.
Well, yeah.
And Michael Douglas is like the bad one.
Well, that's because it's Kurt Russell.
I know. I love.
I think he was fighting a lot. I mean, it
Hot
took
Santa.
Hot Santa.
Keep trying, Randall.
Hot Santa. Yeah. He was not. Again, nobody in this was like first pick for anybody, including the director, because the producers ended up I think at one point, John Borman was signed on to do this. Brian De Palma was signed on to do this. They approached John Carpenter and he said no.
Ooh, that would have been interesting.
Well, I think because they were trying to sell this as a slasher.
Right.
And so you go to John Carpenter, he's got the suspense slasher.
Yeah,
and
I was just thinking like those violent scenes could have gotten even more like bloody.
Right. And like there's an interview where he was talking, he was like, yeah, it just never interested me because he'd already done it. I did it 10 years ago. Like, why the fuck would I do this again? Which is weird because now all he does is, hold out his hand and a royalty check shows out because they just keep remaking all of his films. Which I love him in interviews. He's like, yeah, it's like magic. I just hold my hand out and then money appears. It's awesome. But like Michael Douglas specifically, before he got Romancing the Stone, he was very hard sell. And he was also a hard sell for this movie. Like they didn't want him at first. And it wasn't until like they started getting, oh, okay, now we can kind of see him in this bit. And it was the same with Glenn Close. They're just like, I don't know. Because like the people they were like the laundry list of women that they were going for, it's like a 40-year age gap of like what the hell they were trying to look for.
That is the one other thing about this character. This character is what made Glenn Close famous. Like she did in other movies, but this is the one that turned her into a movie
she'd
star.
always been like, the very wholesome, and this was a challenge for her because she wanted to do something that was going to push not only her perception of herself, but like what other people thought of her. And honestly, there was an interview, I think in 2017, she was talking about she thought she ruined her career when she was going for this role because she was like, oh God, what am I doing? And
I can understand it because it's like the 80s. It's like
scary,
a very kind of like not full frontal, but like,
I mean,
there's a lot of boobs. There's a lot of Glenn Close's boobs in this.
Here's the fascinating thing. Because she is not traditionally attractive.
What are you talking about?
I think she's hot.
No.
She means by like movie standards.
Yeah.
Right. If you put it in comparison to Sharon Stone.
Right.
After Basic Instinct, Sharon Stone had to
Sharon Stone is a bombshell.
Not be cast as the same person over and over again. Glenn Close has never had that problem because she couldn't have been shoehorned into that role. Nobody else would have cast her that way. So it actually kind of worked to her advantage that she didn't look like Sharon Stone. It actually worked out for her because she was able to have this huge prolific career that allowed her to go to all of these different places.
But she also takes that character in a completely different.
Yeah.
It's such a complex character.
Well,
like there's so much to.
In her hands, it is a complex.
Yeah, totally, absolutely.
Honestly,
if somebody else had done this,
it would have been. It would have been
like
so bad,
like insufferable.
Yeah.
You would have really, really been rooting.
You know what
for
it would
her
have
death
been? It would have been that Ari Leiter movie.
Yeah.
Where it's the exact same thing where she's obsessed with the.
Or what's that awful movie with Sandra Bullock where
no movie's awful?
Oh yes,
All About Steve.
All About Steve.
Yeah, where they do her real dirty.
All About Steve.
They just do her dirty. She's great.
Or it could have been Obsessed with Beyonce.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one with Ari Leiter. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking
was in another movie.
Yeah, it was
besides the Austin.
Yeah,
Powers
it's Idris Elba.
Idris Elba, her,
and then Ari Leiter.
Right? Yes.
That's the movie I was thinking of because it was just like she's so one note that entire time, and unlike this movie. It's
very
boring.
easy to make
It's
this
boring.
character be insipid, right?
Yeah.
It's very easy for this character to be like just unbearable.
needy.
Yeah.
Like the needy girl. And she is not that. Like
No.
Not at all.
She is, before they decide to make her crazy, she's a very like clearly powerful person. But then what's fascinating about it is that when she flips a switch and she goes crazy, she's still that powerful person.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so extreme, is because she's so fucking powerful.
And she knows how to stand up for herself and like demand things that she wants.
I cheered when she said, I will not be ignored.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I actually cheered when she said it. So I'm like, damn straight. Tell him. You tell him not to marry him.
And that's, I think, the biggest part about this is that, and I think the reason why it's so memorable is because at a time, I mean, this is not exactly a time for
ladies.
Like, well, no, it was like
No.
there's always a
Because
there's
2023
a
is a great time for ladies.
Well, I know, but like,
I mean,
the roles.
You know
are
they're
always-
reviving this into a TV show, right?
I know,
I
it's
know.
Pacey.
Oh.
which I kind of want to see because it's Pacey.
Oh, and fucking Janice Ian from Mean Girls.
I know.
All right, I saw like the trailer for the reunion. I'm just like, God, Pacey's hair looks so weird.
It
I
does.
But I
He
think
started
it's
to look-
meant to.
I mean, the Michael Douglas hair, you know.
I think it's
Yeah.
meant to look like Michael Douglas hair.
I think, yeah, because I don't know if they're setting it in the 80s or if it's just like.
I think
Try-
so.
I don't know.
It's like the whole like 80s dad bod thing, right? It's like
Sure.
not really attractive, but like
But it's still Pacey.
good looking enough.
It's still Pacey.
Well,
Pacey
it's
wasn't
still
cute when we
Pacey.
were kids either. We just thought he was because he's so charismatic.
Oh no, I love Pacey.
No,
as a kid.
he's really hot.
Not in Dawson's
I also
Creek.
really loved him in Fringe. He was
Him
very
Fringe,
cute
he
in
was
Fringe.
very-
No, I'm just
I
saying in Dawson's Creek, you go back and watch the first season, Pacey was not cute. Not in the first season.
Yeah.
I saw him in a play. He's even hot in real life.
Well, now he is, yeah.
Yeah, he aged up good.
He did.
It's always better if you don't peak in high school.
True.
Aged like a fine wine.
I'm really interested to see how they're gonna portray like Pacey as being an asshole, because that's always a hard sell for me. And it's like, oh come on, you're not serious. Whenever he just like
I
serious
seriously
things.
doubt. I seriously doubt that they're going to allow his character to be the same as the Michael Douglas character, especially because it's a TV show. I feel like there's got to be more to it than that.
I mean,
Mhm.
maybe.
They said that it's a different twist to it, so we'll see.
Well, I think it's
Oh, maybe he's the psychopath. That's.
I'd watch that.
Can
yeah.
I
I
just
think
also
I think
say-
it's the reverse.
Oh, interesting.
I could see him like losing
Interesting.
his shit and like chasing after.
Yeah.
How do we keep doing this though, by the way, guys?
What? Talking about other movies.
Other things.
It's not other
No,
movies.
no, no. We
Remake
keep picking stuff
with the same-
inadvertently that gets remade or
Because
like
everything's being remade now.
No,
Yeah,
but we
it's
are.
all
Helen is
factors,
right. We
true.
keep choosing it like right at the time when thing is coming
it's
out.
weird, right?
Yeah.
Like
I think this
Yeah.
is the fourth time we've done that.
Yeah.
I think it's just in
we
our
picked it before they put out news
We're
about
psychic.
it.
We're on.
We're
We're
psychic.
like our thumbs on the pulse. We're
our fingers on the pulse.
we're in the
There you go.
zeitgeist.
We are the zeitgeist.
We are.
You're zeitgeisty.
I'm just so weirded out by this because it's like I really love Lizzie Kaplan, but I don't know.
Janice Ian.
Yeah, it's Janice.
But she already did this in like Masters of Sex.
Kind
It's
of.
a little different, I think.
Well, like I mean, if they turn Pacey into the like obsessed one, I mean, I watched that whole show because of Michael Sheen. 'cause
Michael Sheen, I love him.
Talk about
yeah.
obsessed.
Come on.
What?
No, I think
I love Michael
Sheen.
Sheen. Super
Oh,
hot.
I thought you were
Oh, okay.
disagreeing
We're
with
saying
me.
that in a good way.
No, come on.
And my brain,
No, are you
my
kidding me?
brain like
No,
fell
no.
apart.
Bryce, no, that was me talking to the haters if they exist, which I don't think they should. Because
Like,
Michael Sheen is
I watched the
gorgeous.
TikToks of him.
Oh my
like,
God.
Oh,
with David Tennant.
Casual
love
Michael
Michael
Sheen with his
Sheen.
Welsh accent, and then
oh my
like,
God, did you see them cheering for the Welsh
wait,
football
Guys,
team?
we've gone way
His,
too
like
far. off
inspiring
course.
speech?
Way
Come
too
on.
far.
Okay,
off course.
Way too
Michael
far.
Sheen
All right.
is.
We're in another country now. Let's
But
bring it
okay,
back.
but
Let's
in
bring it
our
back.
defense,
Come on.
at least Michael Sheen is more wholesome than James Spader.
Oh, good.
Hey, come
True.
on. Come
I'm
on.
actually surprised you all like Michael Sheen because he's a little bit dorky for all of you.
He's
Eh.
amazing.
I love Dorky.
Got the curly hair, got the little belly now.
He
So
falls much
cute.
more into my camp than he would into your camp,
Ugh.
based on the conversations we have had throughout these podcasts.
I love Michael Sheen.
I could see that. You're right, Dana. I'm going to give
I
you that.
am a complicated woman, and I
Exactly.
find
Walking contradiction.
a whole rainbow of people sexy. Don't even
Yeah.
worry
Yeah.
about it.
Well, since we already answered the question about the remake, since it's already coming, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to it just
Yeah, I
because
wanna see
I
it.
like.
I mean, it's Joshua Jackson and Lizzie Cat.
Yeah,
I pay for stars. I'm gonna watch it.
yeah, it's already there.
Oh, you're that one person I know that
I
pays
think
for
we
stars.
accidentally paid for stars.
Well, no,
Yeah.
I paid for it through Amazon Prime. So don't
Oh yeah. I know there's been like literally just gallons of ink spilled on this, and same at the time,
And continues to be like referenced, you know?
right?
Well,
and
but this is the other thing we didn't really talk about it. In all of the conversations about it, the one thing that I never remembered is the pregnancy storyline.
Oh.
Totally.
They always just sell her as this crazy bitch who goes
Yeah.
insane.
Who gets
because-
obsessed for no good reason.
So,
yeah,
and-
totally.
And that is a very important reason to be
Yeah.
obsessed. Although I know you guys are saying it maybe is not true.
Exactly.
Well, and that is my take on it, that she wants everything else that he has so badly that she manufactured a reason.
But I also don't know if that's like something in the editing, you
See,
know?
yeah.
She tells the story, and I think she tells the story before she goes wacky about how she had this really terrible miscarriage.
Right.
Mhm.
And if you have a really terrible miscarriage,
Yeah.
and then you get pregnant, and the guy tells you he wants you to get rid of it.
No way.
That's a switch that would be flipped. That's why it might have been.
That's an absolutely reasonable conclusion, and they never address it. And my take was that the pregnancy story was a way to keep him.
Yeah. I'm sure you're right based on the 80s.
Yeah.
But in my mind,
he also, like, she offers, I think it's really interesting that we're like so torn about this pregnancy linchpin, because it is like what explains her turn into
incredibly
complete off the rails craziness, right? Yeah. Because it's a monumental thing to happen, you know,
and
like
if you are her doctor and confirms it.
He calls the doctor.
He could be calling anybody.
But it could be anybody, gave him a number. Right?
But no,
she doesn't seem like someone who has a lot of people who would cover for her.
Like, we're automatically cynical about it, right? We're automatically like, she's making it up. Why are we automatically thinking she's making it up?
Well, because she did do that lying bit before with the father story and the.
That's part of it, but also.
Yeah, but then it shows that wasn't a lie.
But it was true.
It was true. She was just fucking
right,
with him.
that he died, but like
it's all.
But she kind of like brushed it off as a lie.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
But so I didn't think she was a liar because she was a crazy bitch, but I actually think that her kidnapping the daughter, was
that's another.
Like, that's why I think she wasn't pregnant, because this was in her mind. I thought this would be her only taste of the family life, of having the child and having that moment.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate your point of view, Dana and Helen, and I like that there are two legitimate interpretations to this.
I'm not totally sure that she was or was not lying about it. Like, I'm like still a bit split about it.
It kind of, again, it goes down personality lines, because I think I'm much more likely to take people at face value than you guys are. You guys are much more likely to, I'm more likely to trust someone than you are.
Yeah.
But I would say that in this case, to me, what really makes sense is that it is not a manipulation, even though she does several things to manipulate him. I think she is pregnant. And so it becomes a spiral of trying to keep him in her life because she's about to have a baby with him.
And so this kind of ties into my feelings about the movie. I don't know if I like it, but I am compelled by it. It is a very compelling story.
Yeah.
That's totally fair.
Totally.
I don't think I enjoyed watching it, but
I definitely don't enjoy the bunny rabbit thing because I had a bunny rabbit.
Well, of course not. Nobody enjoys the bunny.
No, Alex could not look at it.
I could not look at it because I had a bunny rabbit.
We are firmly anti-bunny boiling.
And my dad used to joke about my bunny rabbit that he was going to kill it and eat it.
Well, I mean, that's not an unlikely threat with your dad.
Nope.
I think I have, like, this is one of those films that it is very well constructed, and it is of its time, and it is so.
It was,
I don't think like, we'll see. I mean, they've redone it in different ways and called it different names, but I don't think it'll have that kind of same. One of the fun things I was reading on.
We didn't mention Swim Fan.
Oh, Swim Fan is so good.
Swim Fan is teenage Fatal Attraction.
It's terrible, but it's so good at the same time because it's Erica Christensen.
Helena Christensen.
Erica Christensen. She's in Will Trent, Helen. It's Erica Christensen.
I thought it was Helena. I really like her, so I just gave her my name.
What was the one with Marky Mark?
Fear.
Oh, yes.
Fear.
Mother, May I?
No, Fear. Mother May I Sleep with Danger is also.
No.
Mother May I Sleep with Danger.
Mother May I Sleep with Danger is the Lifetime version.
The Lifetime
has like 57 versions of that movie.
Yeah.
By the way, my mom in the other room was watching Nanny Killer on Lifetime, and I was like, I've got to go.
Killer?
I can't.
What is
Dude,
that?
I will never not have a soft spot for those movies.
I still haven't watched any of them.
Well, that's what
we have to have our.
It's like Jane Eyre, but in like a.
Well, every time you say the title "Mother May I Sleep with Danger," I'm like, well, that's fake.
No, it's not.
I know, but like, come on.
Oh,
Mother
that was actually
Mother Trucker.
Yeah, there was a category at a movie trivia that we had like years ago, and one of them was just like
Torso, the Evelyn Dick story. That was the one I was trying to.
Is this a real Lifetime original movie title or a fake one? And they're all ridiculous.
Yeah, they are
all the worst.
They are.
I think that tonight's it's a double feature. It was like Nanny Killer and then Killer Nanny.
That makes sense.
One's a comedy.
Yeah.
No, one is about nannies getting killed, and the other one is a nanny that takes revenge.
Okay, if you put them together, they just cancel each other out.
Right.
Exactly.
Then
Everybody dies.
Yeah.
Everybody dies. I just like rewatching it now. It's without these performances, because honestly, like the script is the script is fine, but it's what they put into it. And even though Michael Douglas is a dick, he
gives a good performance.
He's compelling.
He gives a really great performance as a selfish dick.
Yeah.
Have we called him a coward yet?
He's a coward.
He is a coward. He runs away to the fucking suburbs.
Yeah, he ran away.
He doesn't even want to like
change
admit
his number, and like he just like ran away.
He doesn't want to admit to the cop that there needs to be a restraining order because he did something wrong. That he fucked up.
Client.
He's a sniveling coward. He's hiding in the fucking library with his best friend, trying to figure out how to get out of this whole thing.
Oh yeah, by the way,
what his liability is.
The only person of color they didn't make fun of in this movie. Because that opening book scene with the what is it, the samurai cookbook or whatever the fuck it was.
Oh
it was
my
just
god,
it was like
bad.
Yeah, it's real bad.
It's terrible.
I think it is that.
So that set me up to just not like him to begin with.
Yeah, totally.
I don't think it was a cookbook. I forget what it was, but it was like
there's a self-help book, which is so 80s.
That is another 80s thing where it's just like, oh, of course it's a self-help book. But yeah, I don't know.
I would say it doesn't hold up, but it is still relevant.
It's still very relevant.
Yeah. And it's weird now that I can watch it and you're pulling different stuff out of it.
And
which
you
again,
probably don't need to watch it before you watch the Pacey one, right?
No.
Just go right into it. You know,
go right into the
Just
Pacey
watch
one.
the Pacey one and let us know if it's good because we'll probably watch it though.
Yeah, we'll watch it.
As long as there's no bunnies, I think you'll be fine.
No bunnies.
I think they'll probably like fake out the bunny like 10 different ways.
Like, they'll stop by like a pet
store. They'll be at some like fucking like farm to table restaurant where they'll
order the bunny
rabbit cassoulet or something,
which I would never eat.
I know, Alex.
No bunnies. I love them. They're too cute.
Yeah.
They are also tasty. Sorry.
Shut up. They're cute.
They are pretty tasty.
You also eat octopus, and I don't eat octopus.
Octopus are brilliant and fun.
They're so smart.
They also
delicious.
They're very smart, and the only reason I'm pretty sure they didn't take over the planet is because they only live for like a couple years.
Yeah, and they're aliens.
They have
no exoskeleton.
They're aliens.
Grilled with a little bit of lemon juice. So delicious.
You can do that with squid, which are very stupid.
I like you're
Octopus
like,
is
no, they're dumb. Let's eat them. I mean, anything's better than like, the cockroach of the sea, right? Yeah.
Lobster? Oh my god, I love lobster.
Lobster's delicious.
Lobster is called the cockroach of the sea.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah, because that's what it is. Yeah. It's a bottom feeder.
Yeah.
Helen, you're killing our cephalopod fan base here.
Sorry, it's for our sister podcast that we're doing.
Okay, not only are we talking, we're not even talking about other movies. We are talking about other podcasts.
We're talking about food. Apparently, we haven't eaten today.
Different podcasts we're gonna start.
We're like, this is always the point whenever I'm talking about something, and it was like, oh yeah, I haven't eaten yet.
I ate, but I'm starving still.
You're in training.
I am in training.
She's in training. I have to put breadsticks in the oven to dry up more because they're not dry enough.
You made a new batch of breadsticks? Good.
Yeah. I finished the homemade tortillas I made.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm almost done with our fancy popcorn.
No. We're not talking about the cooking podcast.
No, we're not talking about that. We got to close it up.
Can I come on as a guest on your cooking podcast?
Absolutely. Everybody is welcome.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Just don't bring rabbit.
Because that's the whole, don't bring rabbit.
Yeah. All right. Watch the Pacey and Janician
Watch
version.
the Pacey and Janician.
Tell us, what you think.
And picture them as Pacey and Janice Ian while this is all going
on.
on.
Oh my god, I love it.
That will make it much
Janice Ian was the best character in that movie. She's so good.
I learned the truth at 17 that love was meant for beauty queens. In high school, girls with clear skin smiles who married young and